Good morning. Peter is not done with us yet in describing these false teachers. And so he's going to just pick up the description. We're in 1 Peter chapter 2, and we're going to start in verse 17. He says, "These men," meaning these false teachers, "these men are springs without water, mists driven by a storm, blackest darkness is reserved for them. For they mouth empty, boastful words, and by appealing to the lustful desires of sinful human nature, they entice people who are just escaping from those who live in error. They promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity, for a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him." So here he picks up the first in verse 17, the point that he's trying to make: springs without water, mists driven by a storm, blackest darkness is reserved them, is that they sound spiritual outwardly. They may sound impressive, but there's nothing inside them. They don't really possess the heart and mind and feelings of God. They don't possess the Spirit of God, so to speak. They offer a lot, but they really have nothing. The next verse he says, they mouth empty, boastful words. So their words sound very, spiritual, very impressive, but they're empty. They have no truth basis to them. And it says, by appealing to the lustful desires of sinful human nature, they entice people who are just escaping from those who live in error. Now, I'd mentioned earlier, a few days ago back, that Gnosticism, which appears to be the form of false teaching that was happening there, it had two schools. It had the one school that said, since your physicality is evil, it doesn't matter what you do with your body. You can commit any kind of physical, sexual immorality you want. It really doesn't matter because the body is evil anyway. The other school of Gnostics said, well, since the body is evil and matter is evil, we must punish it. And so, sleep on a bed of nails, deprive yourself of food and drink and all that kind of thing. Well, he's emphasizing that this particular Gnostic group of teachers that was infecting the believers, they were the lawless ones. They were the ones who were saying that since your body is evil anyway, physical matter is evil, then you can do whatever you want. You can indulge in all kinds of sinful sexual activity. Whatever you do with your body, just indulge your desires. It doesn't matter. They were completely lawless. And Peter says, the people that were just slightly escaping from the destructive, forces in the world because of their affiliation with learning about Christ and learning the truth about God and life, these false teachers pull them back into that self-centered, self-absorbed, desire-centered, desire-governed lifestyle, which ultimately leads to destruction. But they have an appeal to these people. They entice them. They let them feel like it's fine for them to dabble in all kinds of sexual activity and immorality. Verse 19, they promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity, for a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. So here Peter is saying these false teachers themselves are slaves to immorality, sexual activity. They don't have the power to see that this is contrary to the way that God designed us. So they're offering freedom to people, saying, yeah, indulge all you want. Just yield to your desires. It doesn't matter what you do with your body because it's evil anyway. This was masking the fact that they too were slaves to their desires, to immorality in particular. So here again, we see that they're not only those that are going after people for their own greedy purposes, but there are people that are indulging in all kinds of sinful sexual activity and then trying to lure other people into the same sorts of activity by, in essence, telling them it doesn't matter what they do with their body. As long as they have these esoteric spiritual experiences, these elevated experiences, as long as they contact these angelic archons on these various levels and become more and more illuminated to find the truth that they are God and that God is a part of them, that's all that really counts. And you finally get this grand revelation that you are God, and that's what they would call salvation. So they distance what they were teaching people what God's intention was, which is to help people become free from sin and deception about God, about life, and about truth. They just tell people it doesn't matter how you live, indulge your desires all you want, because what matters are these illuminated experiences. Today, New Age teaching is very much like that, and there's lots of different forms of New Age teaching. Gnosticism still exists today, but it exists in a lot of hidden mask forms. Okay, we'll close out there today, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow. Thank you.